Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. All right, so yeah. All right, good day to everyone wherever you're watching us from. I hope we all had a splendid day. And today, I'll be the moderator for today's section. My name remains Eniola Fadiji, and I'm the moderator for today. So please, in case you are just joining us, confirm if you can hear us, and please tell a friend that we are about to start and we are not waiting for anybody. This section is the section you cannot miss. Every bit of it must not be missed. And remember, always get your writing materials because we are not computer to assimilate everything at once. But when you have your writing materials, you'll be able to jot down important points. I have mine already. I have mine already. So please, no knowledge is waste, and we are here to learn, relearn, and unlearn. So please don't let us be selfish this period. If you know your friend or anybody that you know is interested in this webinar today, please try and reach out to them that we've started and we are not waiting for anybody. So good day once again to everyone. Please confirm in the chat box if you can hear us well. These are audience on YouTube. Confirm if you can hear us, so we'll know we're on the same page. Okay. Okay. Mr. Spencer said he can hear. All right. We need two more people to know that we are not just talking to ourselves alone. All right. Two more people. Mr. Adeyemi here. Good day. I can see you. Mr. Israel. Yeah, I can see you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. So, without wasting much of our time, we have we have our facilitator on ground. Yes, he's well loaded and ready to speak to us. And also, we have the team lead for Fish Lead Up, the person of Mr. Okeojo Pelumi. Mr. Pelumi, good day, sir. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good day, Madam Eniola. I'm doing great, and I hope that's same with you. Thank you.
Right. I hope you are also anticipating this section as well as our
Oh, definitely,
viewers.
definitely.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm also anticipating though because this knowledge must not pass me by. I'm grabbing it in full force. Yes, I'm taking every bit of it. So our facilitator today, so as we all know, our usual webinar in Fish Lead Up, this is what we do because this is what we are called to do, to educate and also share fisheries and aquaculture students that they can impact can be made. So that's why we bring up professionals in the field, in not just in aquaculture field. I also believe that we have someone that spoke to us on scholarship. In case you missed that webinar, you can go to our YouTube channel. It's right there. You have all the knowledge there. You have the free access. So this fish leader, we are not just about fisheries alone, but we are also all about all-round growth, technical in terms of technicality, and whatever you can name it. Yes, we are about all-round growth and impact. As we usually say, we are not just for numbers, but we are known for impact. So this evening we'll be having another impactful section, a webinar, a monthly webinar here in Fish Lead Up. And our facilitator has joined us already. Yes, in the person of Dr. Stephen Reichley. I hope I pronounced the name well.
That's okay. Yeah, it's Stephen Reichley. Good to hear you. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, our theme for this month's webinar says building a thriving career in aquaculture and fisheries. Insights from global experience. So, this time around, we are not just going local, we are going to the global part of fisheries and aquaculture. And our facilitator here is going to be sharing with us a global experience, the experience he has had so far. So, Dr. Sleep, all right, I'll be reading his profile. Dr. Stephen Reichley is an internationally recognized expert in aquatic health and food security. He is an assistant professor at Mississippi State University College of Veterinary and served as an associate director of the Global Center for Aquatic Health and Food Security and head of the FAO Reference Center on AMR and Aquaculture Biosecurity. He is the owner and principal at Reichley Consulting and a certified aquatic veterinarian with extensive experience in the culture of many aquatic species throughout the United States and abroad, having worked across Africa, Asia, and Europe. So he's been coming with us, sharing us his experience across the globe. So once again, good day, Dr. Stephen. We are so glad to have you in our midst, and we do not take this opportunity for granted. So you have the floor, sir. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Good evening to you and good evening to everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and really commend Fish Lead Hub on establishing such a wonderful network for fisheries and aquaculture professionals. It is very inspiring to hear that and to learn more about what you're doing and watching some of these wonderful webinars that you've had in the past, and hopefully I can meet the expectations that you have for me today. I think what I'd like to do is begin by starting to share my screen and then go through a brief presentation with some thoughts on the topic today. So let me go to sharing my screen, and hopefully that will go smoothly. And hopefully you can see the slides. Is that correct? Can you please just confirm you can see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, I will dive into the presentation for today, and then looking forward to a wonderful discussion that we can have. So thank you so much for the moderator for the wonderful introduction. And thank you again to Fish Lead Hub for the invitation to be here for the webinar today, talking about building a thriving career in fisheries and aquaculture. And I'd like to share some of the insights that I've been able to get from the global experience that I've had. So just to begin and make sure that everybody is on the same page and together, I want to just quickly review aquaculture and talking about making sure everyone understands that that's the cultivation of these many different aquatic organisms. So that can be finfish, shellfish, algae, plants, in either controlled or semi-natural environments. And that can be used for a variety of different purposes. Not only, oftentimes people think of aquaculture, they think of raising fish for human consumption, but aquaculture really is much more encompassing beyond that. And then, of course, fisheries is capturing the aquatic life directly from their natural environments. And both of these together, while sometimes viewed as conflicting, and in some local contexts they are, it's important to recognize both aquaculture and fisheries contribute to aquatic foods. And aquatic foods is really a rapidly evolving field, and that impacts a lot of different aspects of today's society, from food security, making sure people have enough nutrients to eat, conservation, like I mentioned, sometimes aquatic foods can be used for conservation purposes and actually increasing biodiversity in different areas, to trade, to climate resistance. And really, at the end of the day, the aquatic foods is contributing to livelihoods and lifting people up and improving livelihoods. So why do aquatic foods matter? Hopefully, if you're not aware, you'll be aware now that this graph on the right shows the prediction of global population. And you can see that the global population continues to grow and has historically seen a rapid expansion. And so because of that growing population of people around the world, there's a rising demand for protein around the world. In fact, fish are the most traded animal protein worldwide. Fish and aquatic foods are an essential food for billions of people, particularly in coastal and also, though, inland communities. And why is that? And that's because of the nutritional benefits of fish. Fish have tremendous nutrition and health benefits for people. This includes high quality protein, but also essential amino acids, including omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, that come in high quantities in fish relative to other protein sources and animal source foods. Fish also include a number of key micronutrients that you see on the slide there. So when you look at fish and you look at the nutrition that they can present for people, this is anything from vitamins to calcium, zinc, iron, iodine, and those essential fatty acids that are so important, particularly for women and for children and development. Next, I'd like to just briefly show a graph here that depicts the per capita consumption. That is the average consumption per person of aquatic foods around the globe. You can note the variable per capita consumption within Africa, but also between the different continents. I'd also like to point out that FAO, they publish a State of the World Fisheries and Aquaculture. This is a graph from that publication. And you can see these are the projections by FAO on the required growth of the supply of aquatic foods in various regions just to maintain the 2022 per capita consumption. So this is not to increase per capita consumption, and this is just to be able to maintain that 2022 per capita consumption levels through 2050. You can see very clearly from this graph, Africa will require the largest growth in order to maintain the current seafood consumption. In my mind, this indicates the potential for aquaculture and fisheries and the importance of it to grow across Africa in the coming years. Part of the reason for that, and part of the reason when people ask why aquatic foods, is the efficiency of aquatic animals to convert feed to growth. So this image is from a peer-reviewed publication that shows feed conversion ratio of a variety of different aquatic animals at the top compared to several terrestrial animals at the bottom. For those of you who may not be familiar with FCR, feed conversion ratio, it is the required kilograms of food to feed an animal in order for it to gain 1 kilogram of growth. So the lower the number, the more efficient the animal is at converting food to gain. So you can see here on this graph how efficient aquatic animals are at converting food to make gain, to make protein that then goes to feed humans. This is, I think, the last graph that I'll show, and this is another graph from that FAO publication, and this just shows the relative contributions of aquaculture and capture fisheries to aquatic foods for human consumption. So you can see the blue bars there indicate capture fisheries, and the pink bars indicate aquaculture, and you can see that this partly is driven by the efficiency of aquatic animals at converting feed, the growing need for protein due to the growing human population, and the global stagnation of capture fisheries. Aquaculture surpassed fisheries and contributions of aquatic foods to human consumption back in 2020. Now, of course, this graph is looking at it from the global perspective. In many local contexts, fisheries still outweigh the contribution of aquatic foods to human consumption, but just wanted to show this, recognize this at the global scale. So hopefully that helps explain maybe some of the, a little bit of background for aquaculture, fisheries, and aquatic foods, and I presume most people who may be watching may already know that information, but I just wanted to make sure that we all start at the same level here. And so next I'll go into maybe some of the skills that I think are needed for people who are interested in careers in aquaculture and fisheries. So first off in the skills, I think of technical skills. Thinking of things like water quality management, how you design systems, how you assess stocks, whether that be wild fish in a river or a lake or part of an ocean, or stocks, the animals and the fish or aquatic animals in ponds or tanks. How you approach harvesting those animals, how we improve the genetics, the nutrition, and the welfare of those animals, and that feeds into the health and biosecurity and diagnostics for different diseases that those aquatic foods may encounter. Next are the cross-cutting skills. I think these are skills that people have from a variety of different sectors. So you think of things like data literacy, how we collect data and how we interpret data. So things like sensors that many aquaculture facilities are incorporating, some governments are incorporating out in wild population and natural environments to be able to collect water quality samples on farms, looking at the amount of feed that's going into a particular population of animals. All of that generates a lot of data. So working with databases, understanding how the interaction of that data and being able to manipulate the data to be able to make meaningful interpretations, but also taking it a step forward to look at modeling future projections and making predictions off of that. I think effective communication is another core skill that's needed in the modern fisheries and aquaculture workforce, and that communication obviously is making sure that you can communicate with colleagues and customers and the like. But I would take it a step further of being able to translate science, the technical skills that you've learned, the publications that are constantly coming out, research that's being done, how you translate that science to action. What does that science mean to an aquaculture producer or a fisher? But also project and risk management. So being able to put together business plans, think of financial considerations, like anything in any sector, businesses are designed to generate profits. And so it's important that you keep that in mind. It's not always just about the technical side of things. It's the technical side of things in the lens of business. And then also recognizing that in order to be successful, it really, in today's world, requires interdisciplinary collaboration. Thinking of things in the aquaculture and fisheries space as engineering, social science, data modelers, geneticists, nutritionists, and the like. So I think it's important to recognize that while you may be focusing on one particular technical area of expertise, in order to be successful, you have to be able to at least appreciate and approach collaboration in an interdisciplinary manner. And then finally, I think soft skills are very, very important and skills that are needed in today's society. And so when you think beyond those technical skills and things that you learn in a formal education or other areas and those cross-cutting skills that maybe are across different sectors, I think the soft skills are similar in the sense that these are things that would make people successful regardless of the sector that they're in. So these are things like adaptability. We know the world is constantly changing. We know that the situations are constantly evolving. So being adaptable and being able to adjust to change. Problem solving is another important one. You're going to encounter many problems over the course of your career. Despite how skilled you are, despite how knowledgeable you are, you will encounter problems, and being able to solve those problems for you, for the organization you're working with. Those are things that are going to help you be successful. Emotional intelligence, understanding who you are, understanding how you interact with others. Critical thinking, being able to take some of that data, being able to understand the science and be able to think for yourself how you apply that in the particular situation that you're in. And then, of course, we can't forget just work ethic, making sure that you're showing up every day and doing the best that you can, and just working hard to be successful. And then finally, I added persuasion because I think part of the skills of being able to make sure that you can affect change. Again, we know that the environment, we know that society, we know that culture is constantly changing, and so being able to not just be an observer or participant in that change, but being able to drive change, I think is a core skill that would help you be successful. So next, I'd like to just touch a little bit on some of the lessons that I've learned in my global experiences in the places that I've worked. The first is that every region has unique constraints and opportunities. While there may be some similarities that you can that are there across other regions or countries or local contexts that you can use to begin conversations or problem solving, you have to recognize that every region is different. So what works well in one country may fail in another because of environment, infrastructure, culture, government, so on and so forth. And so this global exposure and having experiences outside of your area really teaches that flexibility, adaptability, and humility that helps you appreciate the local knowledge. Next is capacity building. I put here the capacity building is maybe more important than technology or innovation, and that's not to minimize the importance of technology and innovations, but I think it's important to realize that investments in people and not just equipment or the latest technology that's out there is really what sustains long-term progress and long-term success. Things like mentorship, training, protocols, new systems, all those things are going to be impactful in being able to set both you up, but also the organization or the country up for success in the long run. Next, it's important to realize that biosecurity is only as good as the weakest link. We know that the global movement of animals and feeds means that pathogens can spread faster than ever before. And biosecurity is a hot topic in many of the discussions that I'm involved in. In fact, last week I was in China for some workshops put on by FAO, and biosecurity was one of the topics of discussion of how we can improve that at the local, regional, national, international levels. And so understanding these global disease dynamics and what that means for you in your particular context helps make you a better professional, but also helps improve the safety of the industries with which we work. And finally, recognizing that collaboration really unlocks impact. So if you're working, again, oftentimes in your day-to-day life as you wake up and go to your job and return home and spend time with friends and family, it's easy to get into kind of the similar routine and interact with the same people you normally interact with. But recognize that collaboration and working together really is what unlocks that impact. And so coordination between different entities such as government or NGOs or universities, input suppliers, farmers, it's really that network and those interactions and that collaboration that drives success for each of those individual entities. And so being able to build trust and communicate across those sectors really creates career opportunities for you. Next, I'd like to move a little bit into some practical strategies of how to build a career in aquaculture and fisheries. So we'll begin by that technical foundation. I think pursuing that coursework, applied trainings and other certificates and things like system design, nutrition, stock management, fish health, biosecurity, that's really the foundation, because that provides you with that initial knowledge base to be able to build upon. So after you do that, then I think then really going out and embracing real world experiences, recognizing that while that technical foundation that you got through formal trainings and certifications and those kind of things provide a strong knowledge base, that real world experience is really what allows you to see how that knowledge base applies to real world settings, and being able to understand the connectivity between that. So things like internships, if you're going into aquaculture, internships at farms, government agencies, research labs, fisheries, it's, same thing, going into government labs, government organizations, those kind of things, those internships, perhaps even maybe part-time jobs or short-term international exchanges, being able to go to the country next door, or perhaps another agency in a country that has a shared water body, and understand perhaps how they're approaching fisheries or aquaculture in that setting, and then taking those learnings back to your organization is really going to help you be successful. I think it's also important, as you build on that and as you're getting out there and you're getting that real world experience, to intentionally and purposefully build a professional network. So these are things like attending conferences, sharing the knowledge that you have, sharing the experiences that you have, getting involved in professional societies that are out there, that helps you be able to communicate with others that are doing similar work, that you can share experiences, learn from each other. Producer associations, again, if you're working in the aquaculture sector, being able to, whether you're a producer or not, joining those producer associations, showing your support for those associations. But it also gives you a mechanism where you can listen. You can listen to the producers. You can listen to the challenges that they're facing. You can listen to the needs that they have. And as you're doing all of this, then I think as you do that, you're building this portfolio of competencies. So we talked before about technical skills, cross-cutting skills, soft skills. Again, perhaps some of those technical skills will be learned in that kind of technical foundation at the beginning of this, but those skills are going to be further refined as you work through these strategies. And so really, at the end of the day, employers are looking for well-rounded professionals who can operate both independently, but also on these multidisciplinary teams. And so as you have that foundation, you get those real world experiences, you build your network, you're going to continue to sharpen those competencies and how you apply those competencies throughout your career. And then, of course, as you're working through this career and throughout the entire career, regardless of what position you may be in, I encourage you to seek mentors at every stage. Follow up, it could be as simple as following up with people who inspire you, asking them questions, staying connected with them. Mentorship really accelerates growth. It opens doors. It helps you avoid common pitfalls. And good mentors don't just teach skills, they challenge you and they support your long-term development. So don't be discouraged when those mentors are pushing you maybe outside of your comfort zone. So I think as you look for a career and as you're continuing to build your career, you want to look for opportunities to stand out. And so making sure that you're willing to work where you're needed. You want to document your work. More importantly, demonstrate the impact of your work and what that means. Showing curiosity. So many people show up to their job, do their job, and leave and may not be curious about what they're doing. So showing that curiosity and having a willingness to continue to learn. Regardless of where you are in your career and in life, you're going to be a long-term learner, and you're continually going to learn because you're going to be continually gaining information and gaining experiences. So as I end, maybe some final thoughts. for you, just from thoughts from me to you as you look about how you build this thriving career. First, don't be afraid to ask questions. This is a principle that I was taught early on, and I think really being able to embrace and help me be successful. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. The worst they can do is say no, and you're in the same position that you are today. So ask those questions, get clarity. It's amazing how much I've been able to learn and be able to refine my thoughts based on input from others. Don't wait for the perfect job. If you're always waiting and saying, well, I have this job or this opportunity that could be there, but it's not exactly what I want, don't wait for the perfect job. At least take, if it's a step in the right direction, take that step in the right direction. Take that step, you'll get information, and that information, again, will continue to help you refine your stuff in your thought process. So that will help you in the long run. So recognizing too that your career is a journey and not a straight path. So again, if the job is maybe a little bit different than what you think is your next step, that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, that's the best way to go. Recognize too that if you do go out and get global experience, or even you can say this at the regional level or at the local level, it's not, getting experience isn't necessarily about the destination. You may have goals in mind of what you want to do and that's why you're going to get this real world experience and wherever you're doing that. But it's not necessarily about the destination. It's about shaping how you think. You're going to have that different perspectives and experiences, and that's going to help you think differently and more comprehensively. And finally, stay passionate about what you do and stay teachable. You want to make sure that you're always learning and that you're willing to learn. So that's all I prepared today. Here's my contact information. Encourage anyone to reach out with to connect if they want to connect. But happy to answer any questions or lead into any discussion. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen. It has been a great and impactful section so far, and we are blessed to have you. Yes, thank you very much for coming us to teach us your experience and also share insights with us. Thank you very much. So please, to our viewers, if you have any question that you want to ask, anything that you are confused on, Dr. Stephen is here for us. Please drop it in the comment section. Please do drop it in the comment section. Drop it in
All
the
right.
comment section.
Thank you. So as questions are coming in, so I will say thank you so much, for those insightful points. They are so valuable. So that's really which one should I use now? Like my days with you, you're seeing those points, it met my expectation and even far beyond. So I must appreciate you, sir, for that. So as questions will be coming in, I will also like to ask some few questions. In the course of the discussion, I was able to put down some things. So even though in the long run, some of them were answered, we were speaking to your slides, or maybe some other few things to add. So first here that I have is, looking back, we like to know what early decisions shape your career path. I know you've mentioned some things like when you say willingness to ask, that you must not be afraid to ask, or maybe to also speak a bit into that and some other things. So what are early decisions that shape your path, and what experiences also give you the biggest advantage, now where you are in your career? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're asking the question. I have a really strong echo. I'm not sure if you heard every part of that question. Madam Moderator, maybe if you can, and Mr. Pulmy, you can ask that. That might remove the echo.
Sorry, I think there was. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Palumi.
Okay.
We can hear you, but there's a very strong echo.
Yeah, I think it's the same here. Yes. Can you hear me clearly? Now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, maybe should I come up with the question again?
Yes, please run the question again.
All right. So I just would also like to know more the earlier decisions you made earlier in your career, that shape your paths in this field, and those experiences that gave you great advantage. Now, as an associate professor and working with FAO, with any organization when it comes to generally that actually everyone want to have relationship with his FAO. What are early decisions you made that shaped your career path and then giving you great advantage now where you are?
Yeah, again, I hear really strong, which makes it really difficult to understand. Maybe, Madam Moderator, are you able to mute yourself? Might remove the echo. Thank you. Mr. Palumi, maybe try again. Maybe that might remove the echo now.
All right. Okay, I think it's fine now. Yeah, that's great. So I was asking, what are the early decisions you made in your career paths, that has shaped where you are today, and maybe few of your experiences that are also giving you great advantage, where you are today in your career.
Yeah, thank you for that, and sorry for the technical difficulties of hearing the question earlier. I think that some of those early decisions that I made, I think a lot of that has to do with not being afraid to ask a question. A lot of the experience that I received early on in my career was going to a farmer and saying, asking, hey, can I work for you, even for a part-time position or something, to say, hey, can I do some work on your farm? Yes, I may get a little bit of money from that experience, but what's more valuable to me was the experience and the knowledge that I learned in those positions, right? And similar, today I have the pleasure of being head of FAO Reference Center here at Mississippi State University. And my relationship with FAO started probably 10, 15 years ago. And that was simply reaching out to the experts at FAO and asking, hey, can I get experience with you? Can I come do an internship? And I, at that point in my career, I didn't have the long CV, that I have now, because I was early career. I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't have a lot of credentials and degrees after my name, but it was just asking and saying, hey, is that something I can come do an internship? And fortunately, after some continued applications and asking and having that persistence, I think that helped, and was fortunate to get an internship. So that's, I guess, one example maybe at the local level of being able to just ask questions and going and to a farmer, going to a fisherman or fisherwoman and asking, can I intern with you? Can I get some experience? Can I perhaps work for you? To even going international or going to a large organization. So I think not being afraid to ask, recognizing that sometimes there is no opportunity when you ask, but being persistent and waiting another 3 months or 6 months and asking again may be beneficial. But also, even if they don't give you the opportunity, following up with them and thanking them, and then sending an email every 2 or 3 months and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I have going on. It keeps you in their mind. So if they do come across an opportunity, they think, oh, I talked to this person 2 weeks ago, or I talked to this person 2 months ago, and I know what they're interested in doing. And now here's this opportunity that they would be a good fit for, and I can make that connection. So not losing hope when you don't have an immediate gratification or immediate job or immediate internship. It's okay to have that persistence, to continue to ask questions and to continue maintaining conversation with people. So those are some of the experiences and decisions I think that were impactful for me.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that brilliant response, because I can relate as well, because quite some opportunities that has come my way as well. It was as a result of consistent follow-up. I remember my last internship with Wish, came the same, more or less the same way. I've been sending email to Wish since I got to know about them for even like 2 years before the time. So until somebody just one of the staff, I think I sent them an email. The last time was January 2025, and by something around the ending of March, I just received it. And all the emails, there were no response until March, and I just received, can you apply for this internship in Nigeria? I wish. It was fantastic. So I can relate very well. So, and I believe our young people also who are watching us, and they are learning. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I can see another question here. I have a couple of questions which I would love to still ask, but from our audience, somebody is asking, Mr. Dauda Elijah, how best can I build portfolio in aquaculture industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think when you look at building a portfolio in the aquaculture industry, part of that is, I think it starts with having some technical knowledge. And so finding an opportunity, maybe you already have a degree, or you already have a certificate, or you already have some demonstrable way to show you have that technical knowledge. But so I think that's the foundation that you start with. And then once you have that, then it's about that real world experience. And that goes back to asking questions, going out saying, hey, can I have even a part-time job, or just help with this? And it may be that you're helping, go pick up feed from the feed store and bringing it to the farm. So you may not start out working directly with the fish. You may start out with another type of job, and that's where I said, don't wait for the perfect job. Even just starting and working with someone, and you can show your value to them. They can build trust with you. And so that's really where it starts, and then getting that experience. And I think too, the other aspect of that, when you're building a portfolio, is being intentful and purposeful about perhaps if your first experience maybe is with tilapia, and at a tilapia farm, you may think about, well, maybe I want to get some experience too at a catfish farm, right? So you can add other species. So as you start building this portfolio, it maybe starts out small, one species and one production system, but then as you grow it, it could be growing to different fish species, or it could be growing to different production systems, right? So like pond-based systems versus tank-based systems versus cage-based systems. So as you build that portfolio, it's just seeking opportunities to diversify your experiences. And I think that's probably the best approach, and just recognize that it's not going to come quickly, right? I've been in the aquaculture industry for probably, we're going on close to 15 years, 20 years. So it takes time, right? It doesn't happen very quickly. So just, again, being able to say yes to opportunities when they're presented, but also going out and seeking opportunities that you want.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen, for that response. I believe the person who asked is satisfied with the response. So we have another question here from Fever. Is it advisable as an undergraduate to start sending emails to industries for internship, or is better to graduate first?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've seen it successful both ways. So I don't think that there is one absolute right answer and one absolute wrong answer. But in my experience and from my perspective, what I would say is I think it makes sense to reach out as an undergraduate before you graduate, because for two big reasons. One, if I go to someone in the aquaculture industry and I'm looking for an internship, or I'm looking for experience, if I approach them as a student, then that sets the expectation that I'm doing this experience to learn something, right? I'm doing this to gain knowledge and gain information. And so they already have that kind of sets that tone for that relationship, that I'm here to help you, but also to learn. So that's one aspect. The other aspect I think that's important is that oftentimes it's easier to gain experience as a student than it is once you graduate. Once you graduate and you're looking for jobs, you get that first job and you're working, it maybe is difficult to leave that job for a job that maybe give you more experience and more knowledge, but less pay, right? It's more challenging to go take a position somewhere where you make less money, even though it may be better experience and help you be closer to your goal of having that portfolio in the aquaculture industry. So I don't think it's bad to wait till you graduate. Obviously, if you're a student and you're in studies and you're at university and you may not have the time to go leave to do an internship or to work or something like that. So there's obviously some considerations there, but in my experience, I think generally speaking, it's better to reach out for those internships and those experiences as a student before you graduate.
All right. Thank you so much for that response. So as our audience, their questions are coming in. So as we wait for another question from the audience, so I also have another one here. So as young people, from Africa, developing continents, some of us here, majority are from different countries in Africa, we say developing countries. So how best can we position ourselves for international opportunities? So I know as you are in academia, so for like something like graduate studies and internships, just like an undergraduate student mentioned, internships in a developed country, as well as collaborations. Yeah, those were part of the things you mentioned. So how can we position ourselves best for these opportunities? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that there may be a couple of different approaches depending upon what type of experience that you want. I think it's important to recognize that if you want to go for graduate studies, you're going to be approaching universities and academic institutions. And universities and academic institutions very much appreciate and give value to that formal technical skills foundation that I talked about in the presentation, whereby you're getting a degree, you're getting a certificate, so thinking about as you want to position yourself for maybe postgraduate studies, think about what you can do to have things in writing that demonstrate your knowledge base. That's what academia, I think, is going to look for is how do I know that this person has a knowledge base, right? It's no different if I go over to want to look for an opportunity in Ghana. They're gonna say, well, what does Stephen know? Why does Stephen want to come to Ghana? What can he do for us, right? So being able to say, here are some of the things that I have, whether that be a bachelor's degree, whether that be certificate, whether that be some sort of, I mean, even just thinking about some of those soft skills and other things, looking at these certificates, like LinkedIn Learning as an example, right? That may be out there that show, hey, I take efforts and I'm taking efforts to improve myself and to expand my knowledge base. So having demonstrable things like that, I think helps set you up for success to find opportunities in academia. If you want to get opportunities in industry, I think that's a little bit of a different approach. It's not to say that those diplomas and certificates and degrees aren't important, or that technical knowledge base isn't important. I'm not saying that, but I think you put yourself in the mindset of someone in the industry that you're going to go work for. What do they want? They want someone who's going to work hard. They want someone who's going to know what to do when they get there, right? If you're a farmer and I'm applying to a job for you or an internship with you, but I have nothing to show you that I've ever handled fish before, you're probably going to not hire me. You're probably going to take someone else maybe who has some of that real world experience, right? So the industry wants that real world experience. So that goes back to doing, and even if it's locally, starting with local internships, starting with local jobs, starting with local, even, when I started out, some of the places that I worked, I didn't get paid. I just went there and volunteered to say, hey, can I come there? I would spend an hour every Saturday or 2 hours every Saturday to go and just get experience to see what that's like, right? And so I think if you're looking for internships or things in industry, that real world experience is really important. So not to say that the academics and the, having the degree programs and certificates and those things or the real world experience should be taken separately. But just as you think about, what you can do to best position yourself, I would encourage you to think about what are you going to look for and then prioritizing either those kind of real world experiences for industry or those prioritizing having those kind of documented things showing your skills for graduate studies.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir, for the response. That's a very fantastic one. So I'm seeing another question from the chat box. But before we go to that, I have another one from my end there, maybe as a follow-up to the previous question. So, I would like to know, what can you advise, like in terms of what mindsets should young people in developing countries, adopt to compete? The competition is becoming high for graduate studies, for jobs and, in the global sector. So what mindsets should we adopt, to be able to compete and contribute globally despite, our limitations? Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, I think it's important to recognize that while you may perceive some of these things as limitations or constraints, I'll give an example, right? Coming from a developed nation, and I remember I took a student of mine to Africa for a project working on fish health, and it was a research project, and she was in the laboratory and she was doing things, and she was just used to purchasing whatever she needed to purchase from the input supplier for the research project. And then in Africa, she's, we were talking about bacteriology and having to have the agar plates to grow the bacteria. She went out with the professor at the university in Africa to go out and collect the sheep blood to make the sheep blood agar plates to do things. And she had no idea how to do that before. So I think it's important to recognize that while some people may perceive people from developed nations as being more advanced or having more skills, it's just different skills. People from developing nations have skills as well, and those may not be viewed as advanced or those things, but those are different skills, and those are very meaningful skills. And those skills can be translated, because if you're coming from a developed nation and you come do a graduate degree or something in a developed nation, you have skills like resiliency. You have skills like having to solve problems in low technology ways or low input ways. Those are really important. Sometimes I think in the developed nation, we get very focused, and that's where I talked in the presentation about capacity building may be more important than technology or innovations. And I'm not saying that technology or innovations are not important. What I'm saying is building that capacity within people is probably more important. So first of all, recognizing that you have people from developing nations have very marketable skills and very valuable skills. So don't get in the mindset that you don't get in the mindset that you don't have those. And then just generally speaking too, I would share that I think I just had a conversation earlier this week with some folks on the research side here in the U.S. And when we look at the number of the graduate students at U.S. academic institutions, many of those students, and I don't have a publication to reference or refer to, but you can probably Google and look at that and see. But I think there's a large number of graduate students, perhaps the majority of graduate students in the United States, are not actually from the United States. So there's a large number of international students that come and do master's degrees and PhDs. And so I would say don't start out with the perception that it's going to be that you don't have things to bring to the table and things to contribute. You do. And so focusing on that, I think, as you, like anything, that's why I said that thing about persuasion and having that as a skill, being able to recognize what does the other person want. If I'm looking for an internship, if I'm looking for a job, if I'm looking for a graduate degree, what do they want? And then highlighting how you can help them, what you have that can meet those needs. I think that's where you're going to be successful.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Okay, moving to the next question from the chat. We just try to put the question properly, most especially to you as a professor. So, and the person is trying to ask about emails for MS research assistantship and all of that. So let me just put it properly that I believe you must have been receiving emails, from different students virtually every week. So I would like to know what are the things you as a person, and which is likely to be peculiar to other, professors and academic staffs. So what are the things you are really looking, forward to, or that you are looking into from those cold emails? And okay, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to shape the question the person is asking. So what are the things that you are looking forward to that can, bring about you responding and even considering a student for any position with you? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, and yeah, I get many emails from people. And so, I think everyone has their own personal preferences. So I want to be careful of, what I share will be some of my preferences, but that doesn't mean that that's the same for everyone you may be emailing. But I think of things like, having the email. First of all, I think attaching a CV with an email is important, because if if someone emails me and says I'm looking for a degree, master's or something, PhD, what do you have for me? And there's no CV. I can't learn anything more, right? If you reach out to me, I don't know who you are. So attaching a CV or a resume or something and say, hey, attached is this, for your reference. And I think it's important to, to look at that and make sure that the CV or resume is well prepared. I think it's important to attach it as a PDF, not a Word document, because oftentimes I'm pulling up emails on my phone, and sometimes in Word documents, the format gets messed up when I'm looking at a Word document on my phone. So simple things like converting it, trying to convert it to a PDF, which keeps the formatting the same, makes it look professional, right? So I think coming across in a professional manner is important. I also think usually using the tools that we have available, we can all go to, I think most people can go to ChatGPT or other generative AI tools. And I use that even in drafting emails that I send. Sometimes I'll go to ChatGPT and say, here's the email that I want to send. Can you suggest revisions to make sure that it is, emphasizing these points, or that the tone is correct, or things like that. And so I think that AI and the use of AI, it's a tool that you can use to improve the way you communicate. Now, at the same time, it can also be detrimental. Don't just copy and paste what ChatGPT says. I have people who email me, and then at the bottom it says generated by ChatGPT, and I know they used it, right? I don't want to know what it's okay to use it as a tool to shape what your language is, but don't just copy and paste. So I think setting, just right off the bat, if I get an email that doesn't make any sense, or the grammar is poor, I'm going to probably not pay that close of attention to even open the attachment or the CV, or I see there's not a CV or attachment, I may, not pay attention to the email. I try to respond to everybody, but anyway, so I think it's important to, attach that, make sure your language is good. And I would say too, that probably brevity is better than length. So you don't need to send an email that has 6 paragraphs in it. Today's society, we all know we have short attention spans. So I think, 1 to 2 paragraphs of, hey, this is who I am. And and it's really impactful if you've gone onto the website and see what work I do and say, hey, I see this is what you do. This is what I can bring to you. It goes back to understanding who you're talking to. What can I do for them? Like you have a motivation, right, to get that master's or to do that, and whatever that motivation is personal to you, and that's kind of irrelevant. It's what can I do for you? If I'm looking for a job or something from someone, I want to put my mindset in what I perceive from them, and be able to say, what can I do for them? So those are some of the things I think that would be ways to improve the response rate to reaching out about assistantships. But I'd also say, again, we just end with, don't get discouraged if you don't hear back or there's not an assistantship right away. Sometimes there just isn't an opportunity. Like right now, I have no assistantships available at all. I also, in me personally, I don't have a research lab. And so I don't even take master's or PhD students personally. So you can reach out to me and I can help try to connect you with people who take master's students. But for me saying, hey, there's no opportunities, you can contact me in a year from now and I probably still won't have any opportunities. But that doesn't mean that if you write your email well and I'm impressed with what you said, I can connect you with someone, or I can say, hey, I'll have you in mind. So then again, it goes back to that continual conversation. 6 months later, reach back out. Hey, this is where I've updated. This is what I've done since the last time I've emailed you to make myself a better candidate or better applicant. And just having that constant, communication, not in an annoying way, not every day or every week, but, in a respectful amount of time, that helps keep you in their mind and will lead to, long-term success and have that professional network.
Well, thank you so much. And I believe people are learning, as I am. So that's fantastic. Okay, so we also like to ask, so maybe if we still have any audience that have questions, you can just do it to put it in the chat box. So I would like to ask, maybe you can just share with us one or two challenges that has come your way in this career and how you were able to navigate your way through, how you were able to overcome them.
Yeah. Everybody has challenges, and everyone's going to experience challenges. And so the first thing is that goes back to that emotional intelligence and building, resiliency is such a common word used in today's society. I think that has you'll see that used a lot more post COVID pandemic, but it's true, and there's definitely value to that. So first of all, recognizing that everybody has challenges. Everyone's going to experience a challenge. So when you experience a challenge, yes, it can be disheartening. Yes, it can be discouraging in the immediate time when that challenge occurs. But don't let that prevent you from having progress moving forward. So some challenges that I think about. When I first started, I would apply for positions or look for degree programs. And I have a bachelor's degree. I went on for a veterinary medicine degree, and I applied to many places to try and get accepted into the program for the veterinary medicine degree. And I got declined from a lot of from several institutions that said no, we're not accepting you, right? And so that persistence in being able to apply to others and other schools and other universities is important. And that's the same way for a job. When I first was looking at then applying to jobs, and sometimes they say no, right? And even today, even now, even people, if you perceive that having the experiences and the credentials and things that I have, I reach out to a job, they may say no because I may not be a good fit, and that's okay. So I think I understand immediately you feel frustrated, you feel saddened, but I think having that persistence and being able to recognize, again, don't wait for that perfect job. You may perceive this job over here as a perfect job. You may apply, they may say no, and then maybe 6 months later, another job comes open that is an even better job for you. So don't get discouraged when that happens. So yeah, some of those challenges I think are related to just not getting accepted for either degree programs or for jobs, and it's just continuing to reach out, ask questions. So just like you may experience trying to find a master's or something, and use the person before who asked that question about sending emails and things, like you may reach out to a bunch of people, and you may only hear back from 1% or 2% of the people you email. That's okay. Don't let the people saying no or the people not responding be discouraging to you or prevent you from continuing to do that, because don't be afraid to ask. It all goes back to don't be afraid to ask. The worst they can do is say no, and you're in the same spot you are now. So, and that happens even within my job. There are things I want to do, and I ask questions, and they say no, and I try to later on ask the same question again in a different way, maybe, and sometimes you're successful.
Oh wow! Thank you so much, sir, for that. And as we'll be wrapping up, I have the last question from my end here. So, but before we go to that, somebody is asking from the chat box. Maybe you just answer briefly to that. He or she is want to know if professional references should be included in CV or they should be sent separately. You know.
Yeah, I think it depends on the position that you're applying for. If it doesn't specify, I think it's best to put that in the CV, so that way it's all in one spot. So you reduce the risk of someone missing the professional references because they're reading your CV and they have that. What I would say though is when you do send professional references, please make sure that you reach out to those references to give them an idea that you're using their name for whatever you're applying for. I have had some people who I know who reached out and said, "Can I use you as a reference in the future?" And I say yes, and then they may apply for a job, and the people that are hiring for that job reach out to me and ask, and I get caught off guard. So help the person, help your reference be your best advocate. Let them know, hey, I'm applying. I sent my CV for this master's degree or this PhD. You know, you don't have to do it every time when you send the if you're sending out a lot of mass emails, but if you're having conversations or you're applying for a particular job or you're having a conversation with perhaps a PI to get a master's in, it's good to keep those references in the loop or updated of those conversations. That way they can best serve as an advocate for you.
All right, thank you so much for that. So I believe we are not having any questions anymore from our audience. So as we are wrapping up, I would like to ask this final question. You know that many young people in this field, in fisheries and aquaculture, in Africa, we are not too sure of what this field has to offer, and that's one of the things that gave birth to Fish Leader. Seeing this challenge, that students and young graduates in fisheries and aquaculture are facing, in Africa. So many young people, they feel unsure about their direction, in this field. So any advice for finding personal clarity and defining a career vision as we round up?
Sure, that's a great question. I think aquaculture and fisheries, like I mentioned in that and showed some of the data from those slides, recognize that there are, I think, plentiful opportunities for you getting into aquaculture and fisheries to have very, very meaningful careers. And, there's going to be growth in this sector moving forward, particularly in Africa. And like we mentioned that, the FAO is saying 74% growth in Africa just to maintain the per capita consumption of 2022 through 2025, right? So there's going to be jobs, there's going to be opportunities. And I think it's very meaningful work to provide livelihoods, to provide food for people, right? You're feeding people. It's one of the core needs that we as humans have, right? Is making sure that we have food and nutrients. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. And then what I would say is that doesn't mean that everybody is going to be a farmer. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to be a fisher. Your personal role, the joy, you're finding a role that you find joy in, that brings you joy. That could be fixing the nets that the fishers use. That could be preparing the feed that the fish feeders feed. That could be providing, delivering the materials or the inputs to the farmers. That could be bringing the fish, to the market or to sell the fish at the market. There's a lot of different roles across the value chain that you can partake in. And so I think it's a meaningful career. There's a lot of opportunities. And then you as an individual need to have a little bit of reflection of what brings you joy, but also realize that what brings you joy today could be very different than what brings you joy 5 years from now. So it's okay if you start here. This is what brings me joy today. It's okay in the future if you realize this doesn't bring me joy anymore, but this other thing does, and I want to move to the other thing. That's perfectly okay. That's normal, and that's what happens. So please know there's an ample opportunity. Don't get discouraged when it takes time to get those opportunities, and focus on what brings you joy. Those are some of the things that I would think about for that question.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and for valuable experiences you've shared with us. So, and I believe we've got so much value for our time, and we must so much appreciate you for making time with us and making us to see that there are great things possible in this field, and how to position ourselves, and how to, to sharpen our interests and then see what is possible for us in this field. So I really appreciate your time and the valuable experiences you've shared with us. I believe everybody, the young people in Africa, those that were able to join us today and those that will be watching, they are very happy to receive these insights from you. So thank you so much once again. And we believe some other time, if we if we call on you, you'll be definitely be happy to have us again. So, and you've been there for, I've gotten to know you for quite some time now, and I must appreciate your willingness to see young people, in this field growing and you know carving in a niche for themselves. So, thank you so much, sir. So, maybe the final appreciation from our moderator for.
All right, Dr. Stephen, it's a great privilege to have you on board. We don't take this opportunity for granted. Thank you so much. You made yourself available for us and also by sharing with us your personal experience. As the English say, they said experience is the best teacher. Thank you for teaching us with your experience today. We really appreciate it. And I believe our viewers and we that were on stage, we are able to pick one or two points that will be useful for us. And I know that moving forward, will make impact with that knowledge. And we are getting somewhere, we are going somewhere bigger and better. And together, we'll make a positive change in the industry. Once again, thank you very much. Our viewers too are saying thank you, Dr. Stephen, for coming up on stage. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you all very much and have a wonderful evening.
And you too, sir.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, our moderator. Thank you so much. I think, do we have any announcements for people to really grab? Do you have any from your end?
No, no announcement from now. But if there's any further announcement, we'll surely broadcast it
All right.
on our group and our social media
All right.
platforms. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. So on the final note, I will just appreciate everybody too that were able to make it tonight with Dr. Stephen Reichley. And I believe we've been able to, draw valuable for ourselves, to make use of. And fortunately, we were able to divert to different areas, both in academia as well as the industry perspective, how to build a career for ourselves. So these are some of the things that are very peculiar, and we must not shy away from them. We must be able to make time for things like this. If definitely we want to make impact, want to create a value for ourselves or create a future for ourselves in this field, conversations like this are very, very important. So you must be ready to spend something, your time, your money, your data is money you use to get the data. So you must not be always be in lookout for free things, some things that will not cost you anything. You know, Imagine he has been able to speak to what, as a professor, what he's expecting. I believe for some of us who will still be in lookout for graduate opportunities, now we've been able to get one or two informations how to, shape our CV very well and how to compose our email. So as he has said, I believe virtually the same thing applicable to other professors. So these kind of conversations are very, very crucial. They are very, very important, which it is expected that we make time for them. And that's what Fish Lead Up stands for. So that's why we are here. We are here for you and for ourselves, to ensure that we create a valuable future for ourselves in the field of fisheries and aquaculture. So, and I believe our next webinar, that should be early December. We are going to communicate that we're coming early December. One of our person, in Auburn University, will be coming around to speak to us on scholarship. These days, there are some scholarships that are opening. So, and we'll be having Dr. Abdul Malik Olajupupo from Auburn University to also, shed more light on that. Some other time we had one of our person too, who is an Erasmus scholar who spoke to us. So the second series will be coming up December. I'm not sure the exact date now, but I think either first or second week of December. So that will be coming up. So I want to encourage us to make ourselves available and also to invite our friends, students and colleagues who are in this field. So Fish Lead Up, we are ready for you. And so you also should make yourself available. So our moderator, thank you so much, Mark, for all you do for Fish Lead Up and always making yourself available. Thank you so much. So to everybody, I will say good evening and good night. So do have a wonderful night rests. So thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. So finally, on the final note, before going, please, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please
Oh,
do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel because I know our numbers of subscribers is not as much as the members of the group we are. Please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And this YouTube, I know it's a recorded section. You, in case you have a friend that you want to share the idea with, please do well to share the YouTube channel with them so they can also share from the section and knowledge that we gained tonight. Do not keep the knowledge to yourself. Remember, we are made for impact, not just numbers. Thank you very much, and have a blessed night rest to everyone and a great weekend ahead.
yeah. Thank you so much, Ma. Yeah, you too. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
All right,
Yeah.
good night.
Bye.